prepared a notice of nomination, which will indicate the various candidates who have been nominated, who's proposed them, who seconded them, and who supported them, what we said, which we term as who sponsored them. And those things will also be pasted in all over the constituency and the various polling stations for people to know that these are the people who are behind these candidates, and these are the candidates who have been duly nominated.
Some aspirants of the, especially the two major political parties, have been mentioned in those people who are yet to complete the process. Is that correct?
It's not true. I can say that on authority that all the well-known parties pay their filing fees in bulk in Accra. So I can mention NDC, MPP, CPP, PPP, GCPP, and PNC. They paid for all those who filed. So there's no problem with these people. The others are some of the other parties and some independent candidates.
So what hope are you giving to those people who might have heard in the news that they are disqualified, and for that matter, that is the end of the road for them?
No, the decision is for the commission, and they themselves too. I don't know whether they are also interested in continuing the process.
All right, so you heard the Ashanti Regional EC Director, Mr. Serebo Akwaku, speaking with our Ashanti Regional Correspondent, William Evans Inkum. That's in the Ashanti region. Let's come to the Greater Accra region and speak to Mr. Kofi Amoah. He is the EC's Director of Elections, and he's joined us on the line to help us understand what's happening with regard to the parliamentary aspirants, whether or not all of them have sailed through or some have faced possible disqualification. Mr. Amoah, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon, my brother.
All right. What can you tell us with regard to the total number of aspirants who are contesting in, who wish to contest in the December 7 elections? Have they all gone through?
I hope you're asking the question in respect of Greater Accra region.
Yes, just Greater Accra region.
Good. So far, 147 have filed to contest the 34 constituencies we have in Greater Accra region. And of the 147, 119 are males, and then 28 are females.
Okay. And what is the total number that picked forms?
The total number that picked forms, the total number that for that one, we didn't collect it. Our attention were on those who complete and then submit the forms.
Okay, and which means that as it stands, all the 147 persons have submitted and gone through successfully and would be contesting in the December 7 elections?
Yes, exactly. We have gone through the forms and they completed the forms meeting all the requirements, and then too, they have all also paid their nomination fees.
All right. Did you face any challenges at all, looking at the fact that the presidential one, there were issues of signature, persons signing for two different parliamentary presidential aspirants? Did you face any of these challenges? And if yes, how did you resolve them?
We didn't encounter any challenge. Actually, all those who came for the forms, we briefed them on how they should complete it. Even those who came for it earlier, later when we have gotten to know the full details, how the forms will also be processed, we had their contact numbers. So we called them and then also brief them on how to complete the form so that on submission, there will be no challenge to encounter.
And my final question to you is this 147, are they a mixture of, do we have independent candidates included, and how many are there?
Yes, we have 8 independent candidates. So when we subtract the 8, we'll have 139 for the various political parties, and then the 8 constitute the independent candidates.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Kofi Amoah. He's the Director of Elections in the Greater Accra region. and he has given us his position on it. And we will be going to the various regions to also get to know what has happened with regard to parliamentary elections. But before that, the Independent People's Party, IPP, has threatened to place a court injunction on this year's elections if the Electoral Commission does not reinstate its presidential aspirant Kofi Akpaloo in the presidential race. At a news conference in Accra, the IPP presidential aspirant said that the commission disqualified him on the basis of falsehood.
Kofi Akpaloo was disqualified on the basis of possible forgery of signatures. 3 subscribers, according to the Electoral Commission, signed the IPP presidential candidate's nomination form and that of another aspirant. This, according to the Commission, is in breach of Regulation 7.4 of CI 94. Again, the cross-subscribers Alfred Yevuglo, Dagadu Raymond, and Edu Thomas have different signatures on Kofi Akpaloo's nomination form. But the Independent People's Party IPP presidential aspirant disagrees.
They are saying that 3 subscribers have also gone to subscribe another candidate. So as a party, because we have our database, we had to quickly call our people, find out from them whether they have signed for another candidate apart from us, and true and behold, they are saying no.
IPP General Secretary Kwame Owusu Echampim says the party will place court injunction on this year's elections if the Electoral Commission fails to reinstate him.
We are calling on the EC to revoke its decision of disqualifying the IPP from the presidential election with immediate effect. We, the IPP, have done our part, providing enough evidence beyond reasonable doubt, and the EC, whom I believe are law-abiding, fair and transparent, will take the necessary steps to ensure the reversal of the earlier decision against our presidential candidate.
And still on issues regarding elections and disqualifications, we have been joined on the line by Mr. Kofi Jakpaso. He's the head of communications for the Electoral Commission. And we want to put some of these questions to him. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good afternoon.
Has the national headquarters of the Electoral Commission received the final list of all persons who have gone through or sailed through successfully to contest in the parliamentary elections this year?
Thank you very much and good afternoon. Not that I know of immediately as we speak.
Okay, but what is the information you've gathered from across the country with regard to the parliamentary aspirants who intend standing this year?
Yeah, the last time I checked, nominations have been completed at the parliamentary for all the constituencies, and the nomination forms and the persons who are successfully filed their nominations are with the returning officers at the district offices of the Electoral Commission, awaiting balloting at the national level to determine the positions of the various candidates on the ballot paper before the submission of their nomination papers and particulars to the head office of the Electoral Commission.
Right. When does the EC intend to pay your timetable? When do you intend to get the final list? And that aside, are you also going to announce to the people who may not have made the final list?
Oh, thank you very much. You know, the filing of nomination is a constituency-based activity.
Okay.
It's a constituency-based activity because when you take the parliamentary, we have 275 constituencies in this country, and every constituency has a returning officer. But when you take that of the presidential, the entire country is one constituency,
right,
with the chairperson of the Electoral Commission as the returning officer. So the presidential nominations are all submitted at the
constituency level,
at the headquarters of the Electoral Commission. So immediately it is easy to come out with a short list of persons who have successfully filed their nominations,
okay,
and those who haven't gone through. But when you go to the various constituencies, it's a combination of different political parties, party candidates and independent candidates in different constituencies. So the list of persons who have gone through successfully would be at the constituency centers, where the notices of nomination will be posted for everybody to see those who have gone through, and then their subscribers. Okay. Now the summary of the list is submitted to the national headquarters of the Electoral Commission.
Okay.
And you see,
no, go on.
Now, when we talk about the nomination process, we have receiving and then acceptance.
Okay.
You know, on a stated day, within a stipulated period, candidates are expected to submit their nomination forms together with all the necessary requirements. Now, when this is done, at the point in time that the submission is made, the returning officer receives and indicates the time that it was received. Then the vetting, as we call it, begins.
Okay.
Now, when the returning officer goes through, and at the end of the day, the candidates are satisfied all the requirements, then the nomination form is accepted, and that makes the candidate valid. But in the event that there is an omission or a correction needs to be done, within the stipulated period, that is 29th or 30th of September, in this case, the returning officer notifies the candidate for the prospective candidate to make the necessary amendment.
Okay.
Now, having made the amendment, it is sent again to the returning officer within that period. Now, when the returning officer takes another look at the form and there are still grounds to render that form invalid, the returning officer is supposed to notify it at the back of the returning of the nomination form and submit it to the commission, where you make a determination on it within 7 days.
Right.
Now, in this
now,
particular year, we are dealing with a peculiar situation in the sense that we receive the nominations minus the filing fee because of the case pending in court. Okay.
All right.
So let's take it that it was Monday that the filing fees were received at both the presidential and then the parliamentary levels.
Okay.
So one would expect that as we speak, where there are grounds for invalidating a particular form, the returning officers would indicate it and then submit it to the commission. And within the period, the commission is supposed to make a determination.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the clarity you have put to the issue. Mr. Kofi Jakpasu is the head of communications for the Electoral Commission. And staying on issues about disqualification or otherwise, you know, some aspirants are threatening to go to court. The EC stands by its position of continuing with the electoral process, arguing that the parties can go to court to seek redress if they so choose. So we hit the street to ask people what they thought of the EC's stance.
In spite of the pleas from the disqualified political parties to have a second chance to correct their mistakes, the EC still stands by its decision. It is now saying that it will go on with the electoral process, challenging the disqualified applicants to go to court if they have any issues. What do you think?
We've been into the democracy in our country. We have passed through such processing. Such process has been happening, and they have disqualified a lot of parties, the same thing. So I think what I was thinking right now, they should also accept it and then withdraw themselves.
If the EC have come to realize that maybe some of the things, like maybe the NDP in particular is pleading, has some case, they can't go back to their vomit. So I think my advice would be for the parties to proceed to the court.
Or the CI 94 tells you vividly about the law. When you don't fill your form well, you'll be disqualified. So this is vivid explained. So I think the parties should be very careful of taking their decision to court because the law stay clearly.
Yeah. Because the unqualified now the question because of also your this without cross-checking or calling those who have been in the scene before. It has come to a time we have to call a spade a spade. Other than that, there's nothing we can do in this country.
The This is still Midday Live on TV3, and news just coming in indicate that there has been an accident on the Tema Motorway, and our correspondent who chanced upon it, Alfred Okante, has joined us on the line to let us know specifically where and what kind of accident it is. Alfred, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon to you, Martin.
Where specifically on the Tema Motorway has this accident happened? And if you can
about
describe it.
200 meters away from the first toll booth when you are coming from the Tisquashi interchange. Just 200 meters away from there. And it's actually an urban bus. We told them the capacity is about 18 people in the bus, and almost all of them, except a little boy, a 2-year-old boy, who did not sustain any serious injuries. He has just some bruises on his forehead. All the passengers have sustained various degrees of injuries. Very worrying. We're told that the back tire of the urban bus burst, and then the driver lost control because he was on top speed. And as a result, the car somersaulted 3 times. But we're told that because there were many cars ahead of this particular vehicle, it stopped at a point. Other than that, it would have been much more fatal than what we're talking about as we speak at the moment. But the good news is that the police vehicle
mills. Along the coast, people here depend on fishing for their livelihood, and tourism is vibrant.
And many more are springing up. According
has 70 villages new